So, hey everybody, my name is Savannah Evans, and I'm the founder of WAPcoin. And I guess I'm here this morning to talk about the case for Black coins or altcoins, et cetera. We have arrived at a point in history where I think it's evident that we need, of course, we need crypto as a whole, but it's apparently and abundantly evident that we need our own financial system. We need our own decentralized financial systems, and we need our own altcoins. Um, we've the case for Guapcoin was created, at least for me, in that I was very excited about crypto and the crypto industry and what it could potentially do for the world. But I was also very concerned about the investment of our social capital into something that may not directly benefit us the way it benefits other people. I personally feel we as people of color in a global diaspora, we oftentimes put our social capital into things, and we've done it over time when it comes to the music industry, when it comes to various different systems out there. And other people have benefited tremendously. Meanwhile, the wealth gap, the poverty gap, the et cetera, has just grown and grown and grown, which makes absolutely no sense. So it also gives our folks a sense of hopelessness in terms of putting our energy and our resources into things that are not equitable for us. And crypto and blockchain has the potential to be equitable for everyone. And again, but what we're seeing when we see things like Bitcoin and other platforms out there is we're still seeing the same faces. Our folks are very smart, very wise. So when we see this thing called crypto and blockchain, and whether we go on the social media, we go on Twitter, we go on the news, and we see the same continual faces that are linked to our old financial system. I don't think personally that is something to get the community galvanized behind, yet something else that does not look like it is as equitable as it claims to be. Additionally, I'm really big on taking the original use case of crypto or Bitcoin, and that is creating an alternative to our current financial system or our current dollar. If you paid attention, earlier Bitcoin days, that is what was pushed as what Bitcoin should be. Literally, you could go to the bitcoin.org website, and I don't know if it still says that, probably changed a little bit, but I know 5 or 6 years ago it said a new kind of money. So we're talking about money. So we're not talking about necessarily something that was quote unquote supposed to be a store of wealth, because we all know that if you're talking about people who are suffering from the wealth gap, and we don't collectively, our wealth is undetermined, then we're not looking for a store of wealth, right? We're looking for something to build wealth with. And we're looking for something to transact with, which again, the core goals of Bitcoin. There are even people who have been around since the beginning of Bitcoin that have been pretty much big supporters, et cetera, that say the same thing. They say that Bitcoin has deviated from its mission. And since the advent of altcoins have kind of stepped in to supplement that, and fill in the gaps where Bitcoin is not touching. So it's not something heretic, what I'm saying. It's basically something that is, I think kind of evident that there's a need to still fulfill those missions. And that's what we look to with Guapcoin. So fast forward to 2023, whereas 2017, when we started, people asked us and said, well, why we don't need a black coin? Why a black coin? But now, 2023, we're seeing the whole institution of Blackness under attack. The Supreme Court recently ruled that affirmative action was unconstitutional. And there are Black groups now that are being sued by conservative groups because they are using the term Black, and they said that they're excluding others, even though they are attempting to right a wrong that has been set in motion a long time ago. They're literally working on programs to close the wealth gap. And now they're being sued, and now they're being attacked for doing so. So, this could potentially spread to things to other Black institutions like Black colleges, Black this, Black that, all of these things that are set into place to protect us. So again, this is to me supporting the need or the coming need for us to be able to, number one, raise capital for us so that we can invest in our businesses, and where our businesses don't get the investment that other businesses do. We need to have vehicles for that. And of course, there are many types of ways that could be done via decentralized finance and the use of altcoins. So that's a coming problem. And I would dare to say not even a coming problem, that is a problem now that we need to anticipate. So if we are going to continue on the mission of leveling the playing field and closing the wealth gap and advancing our needs as a community, then there is no better tool than blockchain, and there is no better tool than having our own blockchain. So I feel like I don't even have to argue the point of it anymore. I kind of feel like working in this industry and building this platform over the years, you have to have patience and endurance. And inevitably you will see, you'll see why, you will see the whys. And admittedly, I've had frustration for having to maintain and grow this for so long without the support of many in our community, like the direct support, like we should have. Like we should have community, we should have, people getting involved and saying, what can we do? And, putting their knowledge and resources into building something like this, so the frustration of not having that has definitely taken its toll at times. But again, now looking at, the potential for us being squeezed between a rock and a hard place where we'll have to look at solutions like this to be able to continue to do the good work that we do in our community, that pressure is starting to ease right now. Now, do we need just one altcoin? No, we can use many. We can have many, which is why earlier this year, I built and launched a layer 2 to Guapcoin, which would facilitate the creation of more altcoins, and that's GuapX. So I achieved something else that hasn't been done, and something that is greatly needed. Is definitely something that I wanted from the beginning. But due to lack of capital constraints, and even lack of the confidence that I could actually build it myself, and lack of the knowledge of how do you build such a thing, even being an engineer was a barrier. But I arrived to a point where I learned of a fairly simpler solution to implement and accommodate the creation of altcoins on top of Guapcoin. So I'm not a maximalist. I'm not an altcoin maximalist. I'm loving to see other projects, and I would love to see other projects be born and take off like projects that have taken off in the mainstream. And I love to see that we have our own something that we could feel proud to have. That's ours, because we are a very proud people, and I think that it counts for something when we have our own and we have our own technology. I think that is going to impact and create a wave throughout our community that we've never seen before. It's kind of like I kind of liken it to having the first Black president, and how a lot of our elders felt seeing a president, that was a person of color, Barack Obama. And imagine seeing a financial system that was created by people of color and that's facilitated by people of color. It's going to be something I think that once it hits and once it sets in, is going to create a phenomenal ripple throughout our community to galvanize us to unify on certain levels because there's nothing more unifying than money. That's something that I talk about a lot as well. If anything is guaranteed to bring some people together, that's money. And, we have issues coming together as a community. We have the desire, we want to build and strengthen our communities. And blockchain is built on communities. Blockchain is way more than a technology, it's way more than crypto. It's really about community. That is a very important part and factor in it. And what brings people together from different diverse backgrounds and people who don't know each other, but maybe a screen name on the internet, is the fact that they come together because of this platform, because they believe in this platform and they believe in the power of the platform. They believe in the power of decentralization. They believe in the power of digital currency and digital money. And they all come together just off of these core beliefs and build a strong community. So this is also, again, the recipe for us to come together and build that strong community, that strong utopia that we envision and that we want. But in the past, we have not had the tools to do so. But now we have the tools to do so. We have the tools to come together to build a strong community. So that in and of itself marks a milestone in Black history. So I'm very excited to see what the next coming years are going to bring when it comes to altcoins in our community. I imagine seeing all types of, just like we did earlier in the crypto rush that many of our people missed. We missed opportunity. We're still learning and we're just now piercing the veil into collectively into what this could hold for us. So now we don't have to miss. We have the opportunity to build it from the ground up, and that's how it should be. That is an important gift that altcoins gives us, and it gives us the ability to participate in the build process so that we can develop trust and we can prosper and thrive off of this industry.